Chess boxing is canceled. The title's not clickbait. It is definitely not happening this year. Not only is it not happening, but I've put 9 months of work into making it happen in over $100,000, which is all gone. That money is gone. Sunk cost philosophy is not real. It's a fallacy, and I will never get that money back. Why is chess boxing canceled? I know a lot of you were expecting chess boxing to happen, right? And I obviously, this goes without saying, I'm very bummed it's not happening. I consider this far and away the biggest failure of my career to this date. I don't think it's close. I think there's a lot of other things that maybe didn't go as well as I thought they would. You know, Brew Battles didn't get the viewership I wanted, but the amount of effort and time put into this and the sunk cost, easily biggest failure to date. Here's the art. Here's a little bit of what George cooked up in-house. This is what it was supposed to look like, bit of the vibes from Mogul Chess Boxing. For anyone who isn't aware, somehow, Mogul Chess Boxing is the event that I put on last year about 9 months ago, and it was definitely the biggest thing I've done as a live streamer. I think peak viewership, we got 300 some odd thousand people tuning in at one point. The VOD has almost 4 million views. All the VODs of all the matches eclipsed 10 million views. It also had Germa.
To the Mogul Chess Boxing Championship, presented by Fansly.
And it even had a Fansly sponsorship that almost got me canceled. So a lot of shit happened. And when I do events, I have a general rule I like to follow. I don't like to repeat them because I've always hated, and I think this is just a human thing, being known for one thing. I've always resented the idea that I would be known for one thing. I want to do multiple things. I don't want to be the chess boxing guy. I don't want to be the really good gamer guy. I don't want to be the good hair guy. And really good gamer guy. I don't want to be the good hair guy. And so I've gotten rid of all three of those in the past year. However, chess boxing was a very cool event and was not at its peak, right? There was still room to grow. I'm down to do an event again if there's a way to iterate on it and make it better than before. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, how about we take this shit to Las fucking Vegas, baby? That was my big idea. How do you make chess boxing bigger? Well, you get some bigger and better fighters. You get some of the best chess players in the world maybe to help promote it. And then you go to Las Vegas, the fighting capital of the world. And a lot of people might be thinking, is what happened you wanted to do in Vegas, you talked to a venue and then it fell through and you put a deposit or something? No, I actually had a venue. We were going to do this at the Orleans. We had this beautiful venue set up. We even have a Ticketmaster page that some people have found that we had ready to go. We were very, very deep in this process. Again, we have been working on this for 9 months. And I haven't been exactly quiet about the fact that I'm trying to do this chess boxing event again. In fact, you guys probably saw that I tweeted out, hypothetically, if I needed one more card for a certain boxing hybrid event, who would want to take part? And this was not me inventing skydive chess boxing. It was just chess boxing. That was it. And from that, we actually had a lot of great fighters, which I was super pumped about. And some of them you might expect, some of them might be somewhat exciting for you guys. And again, bear in mind, not all of these were signed. Most of them were, and some were prospective fights. This was our list. So a lot of great fights. This isn't all the fights. This is a lot of the fights that we had prepped until we found out that there might be something going wrong. And that was part of the hardest part of this for me, right? Because when I do an event, I ask people to do the event. When I do World's Greatest Gamer, I say, hey, Jerax, Tens, will you come do this? And most of the time, I'm not paying them as much as they should be getting paid, right? Like, they get part of the prize pool, sure, but if Tens just went live, he'd make more money. But Mogul Chess Boxing, I almost didn't run it this year, even though it would make a lot of sense, even though it was the biggest event I ever ran, because it's such a big ask of other people. It's a huge ask. I'm asking people to get punched in the face. And there will be a loser. Every fight I set up, one person's going to be a fucking loser. And that's a very big thing for me to grapple with. I don't like that. I don't feel good about that. And so all these people who said yes to me, like, are fucking amazing people. I'm like so deeply humbled and flattered if I ask somebody like Extra Emily or, you know, even my best friend Slime or the stock guy to fight and get punched and train their ass off for months. And they say yes? That's insane to me. So to go back to them and say, hey, we have to cancel it, that was tough. And now we have to talk about the big question of today. Why? Why is it getting canceled? And it comes down to the difference between boxing and basically every other sport you can play, which makes sense. It should be. It is a more dangerous sport because you can get injured when you do boxing, like happened to some of the competitors last year, like Toast. And he talked about
the chest portion,
how he had some concussion.
Concussed. I know this because I don't like bright lights. Like we were hanging out in the theater room. I'm like, I wasn't looking at the screen because I can't. It was giving me a headache.
Wow.
And to be clear, I think we ran the event really well last year. There are injuries, like inherently, even if you run it perfectly, people can get injured. People can get much more than injured. People can die boxing, right? Even if you do everything correctly. I think we ran it really well, right? Last year, we had 2 ambulances on site. We had professional referees. We had oversight from the Chess Boxing Federation. We had a bunch of stuff going for us. This year, I was like, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the way you're supposed to do it. We're going to get a sanction from either the state that we operate in or from the federal oversight. And this is where I have to show you the players of why this event is not happening. And the first one we need to talk about is USA Boxing. Now, there was a law, and I'm going to have to explain to you a law that passed in 1978 called the Amateur Sports Act. And this act basically dictates any Olympic-style sport will have oversight from a federally run federation. And basically every Olympic-style event for that sport needs oversight from this committee, or this committee needs to give jurisdiction to a state to deal with it. And so almost every single boxing event is either run by USA Boxing, or it's maybe run by like a California, Nevada, Florida State Athletic Commission. And so my goal this year was to have one of those bodies oversee the event. Do it the official way. Like we can't skirt it. We need to do it the right way. Because basically what would happen is if we got in trouble, I would be sued and I would have to either shell out a bunch of money or go to jail for a year. And this ties back to where we decided to do it, which was Nevada, Las Vegas. Now, Nevada is simultaneously one of the more difficult states to get sanctioned, but also kind of one of the easier ones if you know the right people. And we had an inroad for somebody who worked directly with one of the commissioners at the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And we thought because of that, we could probably get it sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Here's the issue. Chess boxing is not Olympic-style boxing. It's damn close. It's really, really close, in fact, right up until we bring a giant chessboard down from the ceiling and then they play chess for 2 minutes. Everything outside of that, I would call Olympic-style boxing. Unfortunately, according to USA Boxing, it is a bit different. And at this point, it is worth mentioning what I find to be one of the more fucked parts of this. You might be thinking to yourself, Ludwig, why did you not get a license, or why did you not sanction the event before you started working on the event? And the answer is you don't really get that choice. Oftentimes, they're only willing to look at events that already have a venue or some progress. They don't just like give out permission slips. You need to show some work, and then they will consider giving you the license, which is a bit dumb, but also makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, it would be very easy for anybody to submit for an event to be sanctioned without any legwork, and it would increase the work of the sanctioning bodies, which is, at the end of the day, 5 dudes who are handpicked by the governor. That's what it is. USA Boxing said, no, chess boxing is different enough. Who is the next group of people we are trying to do? Well, I already alluded to it. It's the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That's it. That's our dream. The Nevada State Athletic Commission is the people that we want to say, hey, we will take care of your event. And they do a lot of shit over in Nevada. You've probably seen some of the events that they do. They do so many events, in fact, that I would argue aren't perhaps as safe as chess boxing, that we felt very good about this, right? So this is the group of people who we wanted to. Why are you saying Nevada wrong? Is it Nevada? Okay, we wanted Nevada State Athletic Commission to license our event. And we reach out to them. And as I was saying earlier, the Nevada State Athletic Commission sanctions a lot of events that I find much more dangerous than chess boxing. Events like Power Slap, which is the world's premier slap fighting organization, according to Powerslap.com, and it's licensed and sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, where people's heads do this.
One. He's out. Holy. He's out.
I would argue this is much worse than not only chess boxing, it's worse than Olympic style boxing, and it's basically worse than any sport I have ever seen that involves combat, because you don't get to protect yourself. You just have to fucking sit there and take a hit and get concussed. And so, again, because of that, we're hoping that the Nevada State Athletic Commission will approve our event. And then a couple of things go wrong. The first one is a story that's actually a couple of years old, but resurfaced in June of this year after an article from the Rolling Stone came out. And the article is titled, "Death at Frat Boy Fight Night." And this happened at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV campus. Basically, a frat every year does a charity event that is a definitely unsanctioned, home-brewed boxing event. And everybody shows up, and there's a boxing ring, and everyone gets fucking drunk, and they try to raise money for charity. And they've been running it for a while, and it all was fine until it wasn't fine, and somebody died. This brought a lot of heat to the state of Nevada. Now, it is worth mentioning and clarifying, this is not a sanctioned event. The Nevada State Athletic Commission had nothing to do with this. USA Boxing had nothing to do with this. This was run by the fraternity, but it did bring a lot more scrutiny to the state as a whole, as a death should. And it started to make things a bit more stringent. And after that, USA Boxing cracked down on the Nevada State Athletic Commission, specifically because they found that the Nevada State Athletic Commission was running a lot of events that were like workarounds for boxing events. And they're not supposed to do boxing events. They're generally supposed to do only MMA events, kickboxing, Ultimate Fighting Championship, whatever. They're not supposed to be doing Olympic-style boxing. That is always done by USA Boxing. That's the federal law. But this death happens. USA Boxing looks in, and they're like, we need to tighten the belt a bit here. We need to be a little more up to snuff. Why do they need to be up to snuff? The same exact week that this article comes out from the Rolling Stone, there is this huge news that drops. The International Boxing Association was stripped of recognition by the Olympic Committee. Basically, the Olympics has to have people who operate all of their events. And it used to be the International Boxing Association. However, the Olympic Committee decided, these people fucking suck. And what did they say after that? Well, they said boxing's at a crossroads, and we urge every national federation, which includes USA Boxing, that cares about boxers and boxing, to help deliver a better future for the sport. Basically, hey, we have a giant, huge opening that, a country could cover if they wanted to. This is the Olympics talking, so, maybe if America wanted to be a part of it, they could do it. They just need to really have all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. And because of these two events and some heat from USA Boxing, the Nevada State Athletic Commission passed this amendment to their law that basically says any boxing event must be registered and sanctioned by USA Boxing. And chess boxing, although not considered Olympic-style boxing by USA Boxing, is not considered an official MMA by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So we're in no man's land, all right? Mom won't take us. Dad won't take us. We basically have nowhere to go because of some stuff that happened outside of our control. And the only out that we have, the only thing that we are given from Nevada is to run chess kickboxing. Here's the problem. They told us this 2 weeks ago, which would mean the 20-some-odd novice fighters who are preparing for their first ever boxing event within 2 months of the actual event would need to turn around and learn how to do American-style kickboxing. That's insane. Now, here's where there's an additional fun part. Technically, there's nothing in the rules that says you have to kick in kickboxing. We could run a kickboxing event where we tell the fighters, hey, we are doing a homie rule, a gentleman's agreement, no kicking, only boxing. And then we could technically run the event, and it'd be called Mogul Chess Boxing, a mixed martial art experience, right? We'd have to call it something like that, and that would probably pass. There's a couple problems with it, however. One, everybody would have to wear step-in shin guards. They'd have to be barefoot in the ring, And then 2, if somebody were to kick, let's just say it's stock guy versus slime. Slime's on the ropes. He puts up his fucking right foot and just rocks stock guy. That's legal. The ref wouldn't call it. He would be like, yep, I am a kickboxing ref. That is totally chill. And that would create a huge problem. This was one of our main options for a long time. But it felt to me like not the best option, right? And I basically was sitting there and we had 3 roads. And a lot of you guys are spamming one of the options right now of something we could have done. Option 1, let's just run it anyway. We can do it safely. Option 2, let's do the kickboxing. Let's just run it with kickboxing. I think the fighters will be honest enough. That's fine. Or option 3, go to a new state. Now, we couldn't do it in California. California is a state that's almost impossible to run it in. We'd run into the same problems. But a state like Florida is relatively easy. Most events in the state of Florida run unsanctioned fights. But again, we are doing this 2 months out of the event. That is when they finally told us. Again, it's about 2 weeks ago. So we'd have to find a new venue, get it all set up, sink all the cost into this new state, hope that I'm able to sell enough tickets for people to show up to Tampa or Miami or Orlando or whatever it is, and try to make it happen at all costs. And if this was an event, like any other event except for chess boxing, I probably would do it at all costs. But I reached a point where I was like, okay, why am I trying to run this at all costs right now? What is the main goal? Is this my selfish ego trying to run the event that I am the most known for, that has the highest amount of success? Or is this me trying to do something for other people? Because if I was genuinely trying to run chess boxing the best I can, I wouldn't want to do it rushed. I wouldn't want to risk fighters' safety because we are running it without a sanctioning body. I wouldn't want to risk fighter safety because I am shooing in a boxing event into a kickboxing event and hoping everybody does it right. And I don't think that I need to risk $500,000 of sunk cost because we're going to a new state with 2 months heads up. If I'm going to do this, I should do it the right fucking way. I shouldn't just run it at all costs selfishly because it is a huge event that I run and viewers would like to watch it. And so I went with option 4, 2024. Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it fucking correctly. I'm not just going to do an event that people sign up for, risking their own safety and health just to get it across the finish line. That makes no goddamn sense. And yes, there is a huge hill to climb on sanctioning still. Because frankly, the closest we ever got to getting this event sanctioned was Matt, the commentator of last year's chess boxing event, taking a 1-day notice flight across the country to Vegas. And then, I'm not kidding, this actually happened, bombing the commissioner's meeting after it ended and then sitting them all down and explaining chess boxing. That was the closest we got to getting it sanctioned. And it still wasn't close enough to get it in the timeline we needed. But I'm hoping if we do it fucking right. And that leads us to where we are today, which is definitely this being the biggest failure of my career. And I don't say that like melodramatically. I don't say that to get pity. I say that very factually, right? Like I'm aware, and I think you guys are keenly aware of like numbers, statistics, how people are doing, the space in general. Like all of that is very obvious. And horizontal live streaming, you guys have probably noticed, isn't doing very well. Live streaming content is on the down. YouTube's still doing well. TikTok's doing great. Horizontal live streaming, not so much. And that hasn't been an exception for me either. Here is my average viewership and peak viewership every month of the year. The yellow is 2022. The green is 2023. Man, I had some great fucking months in there, baby. That's the chess boxing month right there. But generally, especially in the past few months, it's fucking down as shit. And I made a general promise when I switched over to YouTube to you guys. To the viewers who followed me, I said, hey, I'm going to stream less. My day-to-day streams might even be worse. In exchange, I'm hoping to put all my time and resources into running cool events that I'm proud of, that I think are fun and exciting. That was the trade-off. That was the promise. And I've spent hours every day in meetings. I created a company called Offbrand in part to do that. And the biggest event that I was the most proud to run isn't going to happen. And if we look back in the past year, what did we really fucking do? Ludwig Tarek Invitational? That was kind of cool. World's Greatest Gamer? Sure. But that's it. And so that's why I say it is my biggest failure. Because this whole year, in a way, was a failure. Because we don't have anything to maybe salvage it. I still get nominated, I think, because of legacy for shit like best variety streamer, best streamer. That's a fucking joke. But again, I don't say that for pity because it's okay. When I found out that chess boxing was canceled, that was very motivating for me. I'm not done. I'm not sunsetting. I'm not 30 years old like Squeaks yet. I have 2024. I have, I think, the best fucking team in the world at creating live content. I believe that. I have the motivation to make the best fucking shows I can do in 2024. I believe that. And I think I also have a viewer base who, if I'm honest with, and who, if I speak to and talk about these things, are down for the ride if I'm able to provide shit that is worth their time. And so, 2023, it's a wash. Chess boxing's not happening. I'm going over on all the awards that I can possibly get nominated for. But I promise, and I mean this, that I will do like everything I can do to make sure that 2024, I do shit that's worth your time. Sorry. Whew. It's getting hot in there. All right, that's it. That's it. That's the big spiel. I don't mean to. I hope this didn't come off as this is all the Nevada State Athletic Commission's fault and USA Boxing. Right? Like, it's a very difficult process, but I also took a bet going to Nevada. I could have chose to go to Florida day one, and this probably would have happened. That was my choice. That was my bet. And so next year, I'm hoping that, you know, the time we put into these events, it results in stuff that's more in our control, right? Like maybe putting more time into events that we have full control over. That doesn't require a commission to operate. And we're talking about doing shit like that. And there's good shit on the horizon. And that's it. Is it clickbait or is he canceling chess boxing? Dude, I put my heart out there for like a straight hour. Spit nothing but bars. That's all you got from me?